Hello, welcome to a special episode of Geekers podcast. I'm Dustin Cernock.
I'm Tanner Badfield.
And why is it special?
Because it's a spoiler episode.
Spoiler episode.
Oh shit! Our first one.
Usually we would have a guest with the even number ranked episodes, but we couldn't find anyone.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Our guests from now on might not be underground artists anymore. More as just people.
People we know who want to be on here.
Yeah. So things change, but that's good. Who cares? As long as content's getting put out.
Yeah.
But yes, we are here to spoil the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes. And we're going to do more spoilers later, but we haven't been seeing a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't seen Captain America.
Yeah, and, let us know in, the YouTube comments, the iTunes comments, email Geekers Network at...
I don't know. I don't know it.
It's at Gmail. Throw $1 in it. Geekers Network at Gmail. Go to the GoFundMe, which is gofundme.com/geekersnetwork, and throw $1 in it.
Yeah, and tell us, if we haven't talked about something and you want us to touch on it and talk about it, then let us know.
Yeah. And
we will, maybe.
Yeah, and this episode's going to be special in another way is, we're still going to do some movie news. And actually, I just thought about, we're going to do movie news and then we're going to get into the spoils, so that way you can pause if you don't want to.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2 yet, you don't have to. You can hear the news and then you don't have to listen to the spoiler.
Yeah, but I just thought about this. For YouTube, we'll post the regular episode, as is, but I'll also take out the chunk of the Spider-Man spoilers for a separate video as well. So that way, I don't know.
Lame. Then everything we just said is null and void.
Well, not really, because then, they're like, oh, man, I don't want to go back and find that area. Because a lot of people watch on YouTube. They're like, I don't want to have to go through the search bar whenever I, just came back because I had to go watch the movie. Bam. The movie's there.
Just pause it, write a note on your fucking phone of the time you paused it at, and then go back and go to that fucking time.
That works as well. Tanner's right. Alright, but yeah, we got some huge Star Wars movie news.
Yeah, the cast.
I
don't know all the names. Do you want me to look it up?
I don't know all the names. I know, well, of course, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. They're going to be there. There's some new... Well, oh my god, like Anthony Serkis? Is that his name?
Yeah, the guy that does Golem.
Yeah, Anthony Serkis, he's going to be in something, obviously, a motion capture.
Yes.
I mean, he's the fucking king. So, that part, we don't know yet if it's on the good or the bad side, but...
Oh, yeah, there's also, before I get to the cast, there's maybe a working title for Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
What is it, the Ancient Fear or something?
I only heard about it. I didn't check on it because I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars Episode 7. I had to count. I was like, what fucking is this? The Ancient Fear. Which they say refers to Max Van Sydow's character, who will serve as the villain on the film. And yeah, so set to star John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, Andy Serkis, Domhnall Gleeson, and Max von Sydow. In addition to the original cast members, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, and Kenny Baker.
Which one's the black guy?
I don't know.
Well, if anyone's seen Attack on the Block, have you seen that movie?
Wait, which black guy? Lando Calrissian?
No, he's not in it.
I know, I was like...
But the new black guy...
Oh, there's a new black guy.
New black guy, who some people are speculating might be an ancestor to Ben Kenobi.
Maybe he's... Is he Oscar Isaac?
No, Oscar Isaac is the guy from Inside Llewyn Davis.
Is he the Domhnall Gleeson guy?
I think that might be it. It sounds black.
Yeah.
But,
well, there's your cast.
But yeah, so that guy, apparently, he's the only black person for now that's casted, because there is a rumor going around, they're not really a rumor, they're saying that there will be a black female, right? Or a colored female.
I don't know.
They didn't say black, they said it will be a non-Caucasian female. So there's something to look forward to for all you feminists.
Well, yeah, and all the people bitching about how there's only, one woman?
Yeah.
There was only one woman in the original ones.
Yeah.
And there was only basically one main woman in the new one, like the newest one.
Mm-hmm.
Padme. In the original was fucking Leia.
Yes, I mean, let's just be real here. Star Wars is mainly male.
Yeah, and there was that one Jedi chick, I forgot her name. She had like the two little things that came off her head. She had two lightsabers.
But you don't really think about that because it's an alien, like, you're not, like...
Whoa. Whoa. Guy. Are you an alienist? Is that what it would be called?
Well, no, you just...
Are you an intergalactic racist?
It's just that most people just don't even think, most people aren't going to think about that because they're just, thinking about human casting,
That's fucked up, dude.
Oh, it's fucked up on their part. It's them, not me.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty stoked on this cast. I like Oscar Isaac a lot. Inside Llewyn Davis is cool. And then...
Isn't Adam Driver from,
Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that dude has a weird voice and a weird body and a weird face, so he could play a bad guy.
Yeah, there was a lot of people saying, they're like, oh, let's get this fucking ugly-ass guy to be on Star Wars. And then someone was like, so you would rather someone who looks really good, parentheses, Christensen, but can't act worth a damn, rather than someone who looks normal and can act.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah.
So, yeah, you would?
Yeah, I'd way rather have Hayden Christensen because he's hot.
Ew! Fuck that! He sucks!
Oh, he's the worst actor ever.
And I wasn't saying ooh because you called him hot. I was saying ooh because it's Hayden Christensen.
Hey, Jumper's alright, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay.
I watched it the other day and I was like, hey, this movie kind of holds up in some ways.
Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson.
Yeah, that's the main reason why.
And that other guy that turns out to be a dick.
Oh, yeah, he was tight. I wanted a sequel with him.
I was pissed that he turned out to be a dick.
We get to the real news, Tanner. The real news.
Okay, what?
A motherfucking Power Rangers movie is coming.
Mm-hmm. And it's Mighty Morphin, right?
It's Mighty Morphin. The thing I'm stoked on the most is because he said a long time ago that he has a script and that he was trying to sell it.
And didn't they say they wanted to go with a darker tone?
Yes. And this is... If they bought this guy's script, then I know for a fact that if they bought Max Landis' script, the guy who wrote Chronicle, John Landis' son. You know John Landis is, right?
Sure.
Animal House director, directed also American Werewolf in London.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, big name in Hollywood, and his son is trying to build his name up right now. And I love Chronicle. He has a movie called, I think it's called Frankenstein, but it's a Frankenstein from the perspective of Igor coming out. So he just writes really cool things, and he's also a huge fucking comic book nerd. So I think that this Power Rangers movie could turn out to be something pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it'd be fucking badass.
I swear to God, if everyone who's like, it better have Tommy and it better be Jason David Frank or whatever, shut up. He can't act.
It'd be cool, but they need to be high school kids.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, it is, for sure, high school kids is what they said.
Yeah, and so I don't want this, what is he, 40 now?
Yeah.
I don't want him.
I mean, yeah, maybe he could train or whatever, but no, let's just, how about this? You know the guy who runs the bar? That little bar they hang out with?
Oh, yeah.
Make him that guy!
Yeah, sure, why not?
That's awesome, a little cameo for him, where he doesn't have to say much and fucking suck up the place.
Right. Sure, you let him do some stunts.
Yeah. But, dude, honestly, I couldn't be more stoked to see the Power Rangers be taken,
serious?
Yeah.
That'd be sick, dude.
Because I'll still watch Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin's one of my favorite series.
The screenwriter for Godzilla, he also wrote the graphic novel. They asked him how he got into Godzilla, and he said it was because of Power Rangers. He was watching the Power Rangers, and he was like, I didn't get it like everybody else did. He's like, I got it in my own way. I just was like, this is weird, but so cool. Mm-hmm. And that made him get into Godzilla and shit.
Huh. That's really cool.
Yeah, he said he also went back and watched the Japanese cut of the original Godzilla, and said it was sweet.
It was sweet?
Yeah. But he did it, to prep for the new one.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So Power Rangers, guys, get ready for it. Also, watch Power Rangers RPM. I'm gonna plug that right now. It's a good show.
Oh, dude, Andy Buckley got casted in Jurassic World.
Who's Andy Buckley?
He was damn it, what's his name? On The Office.
Gabe?
No, not Gabe. The CEO, or the CFO, fucking,
Michael's boss?
yeah,
Like the guy with the glasses?
Yeah.
Bald head? Oh, what?
yeah, fucking, God, what's his name? David Wallace. That's his
Yeah.
name.
What's he doing in Jurassic World?
I don't know. He's
I
in
don't
it.
know.
He's in it.
He's in it. Chris Pratt's in it. Go see it.
Yeah, an Office star and a fucking,
Park Star.
yeah.
All right.
Flash got picked up by the CW.
And we will have that trailer soon. Apparently, the trailer is supposed to premiere with the finale.
Really?
Arrow. Yeah. So, that's coming next week. Have you caught up with Arrow?
No.
Oh, well,
I started to the other day, but
did you catch the finale of Bates?
nope, I didn't.
Everyone should catch that.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I forgot to watch it. Leave me alone.
You're good. Everyone else though, they're bad.
The Fantastic Four adds Reg E. Cathy as Sue and Johnny Storm's father.
Black.
Black is 9.
Oh shit, that guy.
Yeah. Black is 9. He's not that dark.
Oh well. Oh, and
Okay, got it.
they also added
Oh my God.
the guy who played the leader. Can't think of his name right now, but he's
Oh,
in
yeah.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah, that guy. He played the scientist who becomes the leader, and then
now
he's playing
the
scientist who becomes Mole Man.
And they said
Like,
Mole Man's
Mole
not
Man.
in this one at all.
That sucks ass.
Yeah. I kind of think that's the way they should have gone. Just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going with Mole Man.
Yeah.
We're going to make Mole Man badass, and you're going to like it.
The new Spider-Man started with the lizard. And yeah, there's that, whole complex between Peter Parker and Connor, whatever his name, Richard Parker's.
Kirk Connors?
Kurt Connors, yeah. Fucking, they, that relationship between them and being his, the teacher and everything.
Yeah.
But, I never really thought the lizard was that much of a bad guy. He's a bad guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But, one that could, totally take down Spider-Man.
I've only ever really liked... Well, I love the Kirk Connors relationship. And this is mainly from going off of the animated series, for Fox Kids. That episode where it's the Secret Wars, pretty much, and he brings the lizard there, but it's like Kirk Connors can control it.
Yeah.
That was the one time where I was like, I kind of like the lizard, but it's because it's Kurt and not this... What do I have on me?
Nothing. This little black thing's just floating in front of me.
We got a little black thing? Oh.
You see that?
Yeah, that's a piece of shirt or something.
Piece of shirt or something?
Yeah, some string.
Okay. Anyways, the reason I brought up the lizard in the first, or the new, Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, was because I was saying they did it so well that they could do that with the Mole Man.
Yeah.
But it's Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking about it the other day.
Fuck me.
X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man are perfectly good properties that, can stand on their own without the Avengers. Because Spider-Man, it's just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With his whole rogues gallery. I mean, he has the Batman rogues gallery of Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with X-Men, that the whole mutant story can just stand on its own.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four, they're already
And
a team.
well, with X-Men, you have the X-Force.
Yeah. So, you got... I mean, these team movies can stand on their own and stuff. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't even want the Fantastic Four to be blended with the X-Men. I kind of want them to do their own thing. But, of course, it's Fox, and they want to do that.
The Gotham trailer.
This is what I really wanted to talk about. This is the real fucking news. I was the biggest non-supporter of this show.
I know you were. I wasn't really a non-supporter. I just kind of didn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
But now I care.
Dude.
The trailer looks badass.
Oh, my God. let's talk. The guy from that Homeland show is playing Jim Gordon.
Really?
Yeah, he's from Homeland or whatever. And he's from the OC.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've never really been. I mean, he hasn't given me a reason not to be a fan. But I've never been a fan. I've just never watched him.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, he seems tight.
And you know what? If the first episode starts off with him shaving his mustache, fuck yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Or they're just like, I want one mustache joke. So
yeah,
like,
right.
It's like, you're the only cop on the force without a stash.
Where's your stash, Gordon? Can't grow one.
But yeah, okay, so yeah, let's kind of talk about the casting. Because I wasn't stoked on...
I think I only know, Harvey Bullock. Is he playing Harvey Bullock?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the only guy I'm familiar with. Other than Jada Pinkett
just
Smith.
like, let's just talk about what we saw in them, like the Penguin casting.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that guy, yeah, from Accepted. He rules.
Yeah, he rules.
He seems awesome, too. He was, like intense. Like, I was, like, intrigued by just fucking the way he was talking and shit.
I really feel like they're taking a huge, a lot of inspiration from the Batman Earth 1 story, which is, where Penguin has a little bit to do with the Wayne's death, because he's a big old mob boss, and he's trying to move his way up in the city. And then also, I think that they're going to make Alfred the grizzled old war veteran Alfred. I think that's going on. Bruce Wayne, cool. That kid, I liked him.
Yeah, he was good.
He's solid.
I don't think the girl said anything that plays Catwoman, right?
No, but she looks like Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, she just kind of looks like she could grow up to be Selena.
Yeah, the way she was all posted up was good.
Poison Ivy is one of my favorite villains, but I haven't gotten enough from that little girl to be like, oh, cool. Like, that was my only thing where I was like, oh, that's just something Fox had to pay for. Because they had to buy all those characters.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they didn't get the Joker, because that'd be the most money.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's even more than Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Well, no, because they don't say Batman. Bruce Wayne.
Oh, they just bought Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking...
That's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, are they going to include the Joker? I wouldn't like that, though.
But then we got Edward Nygma, too. Yeah,
the Riddler.
So, they're just going all out with what they can, and honestly...
Fuck, my Pandora just started playing. Yeah, that's 2 days grace.
But, honestly... I forgot what I was going to say, honestly.
I forgot what I was going to say, honestly.
Jada Pinkett Smith looked cool.
I don't even remember seeing her.
She's the black woman.
Well, I know. I don't remember seeing her. Don't yell at me. She's the black woman.
Well, I mean, she's the only black. I thought you were like, I didn't see her in the trailer.
I didn't. I don't remember seeing her. I don't even remember what she says or if she said anything.
But I can tell right now my favorite part of the show will definitely be Harvey, which that's one of my least favorite characters. Not like that I love the character of Harvey, but like
you're just not totally into him.
Yeah, I hate him.
I hate him.
That character. Like if I knew him, I'd be like, you're a piece of shit.
Same with the Joker, right?
Yeah. But like,
you love him.
But this way, like, I don't know, man. The way that Donald Logue seems to be doing, I already love that actor. Like, he showed up in so many things that I fucking love. And the first thing I saw him in was comedy.
Yeah.
So to see him just...
I think the first thing I saw him in was Blade.
Oh, yeah?
When he got his fucking hand cut off by the sword or some shit.
Yeah, I mean... He just got done doing an amazing character on Sons of Anarchy that's, like, was really dark. Like, the darkest I've ever seen him be. Where he paid a man to come rape a prisoner.
Fucking
just to
nuts.
torture him. And he watched it go down.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff Donald Logue is into. And now he's playing Harvey. And just that part of him, like, yelling, he's like, you shot people before. And he's like, yeah, but that was in a war. And he's like, this is a war, a ground war.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck.
He's intense.
And then the part, it broke me down whenever when Jim Gordon's telling Bruce Wayne, I'm gonna find the people who murdered your parents.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I really did. I didn't think I was going to like it much.
Well, okay, here's what I was going to say. They don't have the boundaries of the CW, where the CW shows have to have love interest. I mean, there would be a love interest, of course, with his wife and stuff. But, like, the CW has to kind of have that. They have to bring in the female audience as much as the male.
Yeah. And they don't. What? Fox doesn't have to do that.
Fox doesn't have to do that. Well, Arrow. It's not as bad as Smallville, of course, where Smallville's just fucking cheesy. But Arrow has a little bit of cheesy love to it,
Oh, yeah.
And so in the Flash, Jeff Johns already said, yeah, we have to put that in there. Like, he was, when we talked to Kevin Smith about it, he's like, that's the problem with the CW, is you have to kind of go by these rules and stuff. But with Gotham, it's completely new rules. Like, it's just do whatever the fuck you want, make a good show. God, it's going to be great.
God.
Oh yeah, and this week we're getting all the pilots. Like, we're getting what's coming to pilot season, and we're getting what got picked up and what got canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we'll have that for the next one, probably.
Probably.
Parks and Rec got picked up early, thank God.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Interstellar teaser poster came out.
I wasn't as impressed until you showed me the tagline.
Yeah.
The tagline is what got me.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's just like it's a poster, obviously, and it's like the sky, during nighttime. So there's all these stars, but right in the middle, coming down, is the word interstellar, or I don't know, the title of the movie. And as it goes down further, all this white shit, like a beam kind of looking thing, is all right there in the Stella word. And there's like two people down there, and there's a house and a truck, and it's out in the country, the rural area, and the tagline is, "Mankind was born on Earth. It was never meant to die here."
Oof.
It's fucking awesome.
I mean, and the original synopsis was just like, it's a bunch of humans going looking for crops because our crops are dried up.
Yeah, and they're using fucking wormholes and shit or something like that. They discover them or some shit.
And
comes out November.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, and Michael Caine, bunch of people. Isn't Topher Grace in it or some shit?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Morgan Freeman?
I don't know.
I know for sure Michael Caine.
The trailer comes out with Godzilla.
Nice. So. And, I mean, there is a teaser trailer out now, so you can see a badass
Yeah, there's
monologue.
the teaser trailer, but, apparently a real trailer,
Yeah, we're going to see, hopefully, some ships and whatnot. Well, I mean, you see a ship take off in the teaser, but...
Yeah, I want to see an actual wormhole.
Yeah.
Man.
I want to see how Christopher Nolan does wormholes. And for people who don't know, he wrote this with his brother Jonathan, and where Inception was Christopher's dream movie, Interstellar is Jonathan's dream movie.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
DC, the DC movies.
Oh, yeah, there's 9, right?
Well, Justice League has been announced, and Zack Snyder's directing.
Is that one of the 9?
It's Justice League and 9 others.
Oh, okay.
And they haven't said what the other DC properties are going to be. They want to make a Shazam movie. Like, that's just in the know. Like, they want a Shazam movie. No one knows if that would be tied in or not, though, because they said even the ones that are straight up DC, not like the Vertigo stuff, even though it's blended in now, some of them could be standalone from the Justice League universe.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, and the only ones I know, they're going to do 100 Bullets, which is a Vertigo story, and it's by a writer I like who did Wonder Woman, but I haven't read the book. I want to. It's supposed to be real actiony.
Really?
Most of the Vertigo stuff now, there's no superheroes in Vertigo anymore. It's just all, action and comedy and stuff. Dark.
Sick.
Yeah, so we're going to get a lot of stuff like that. But what do you think about Zack Snyder coming for Justice League?
I mean, I really enjoyed Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm going to have to see Superman versus Batman.
Yeah.
To really get, because with Man of Steel, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to see Superman versus Batman first.
I mean, and now we got Cyborg added to that mix, a small part.
Oh, yeah. Cyborg, but he's Cyborg, right?
I believe that's what they're going to go with. I mean, we might see him turn into Cyborg in this. Or at least the accident that causes him or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for sure he's in it in a small way, and then he's going to be a part of the team in Justice League. Which is what he's in the New 52 roster right now.
That's sick.
Yeah, he's pretty much who replaced Martian Manhunter.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do want to see the live-action Martian Manhunter.
I really want them to add him to the team.
Yeah.
Bad. And then Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones, he's still in the lot of, he's in it, but no one knows who yet.
Oh, really? And
he's possibly going to be Doomsday or Aquaman is the main things people are talking about.
Doomsday or Aquaman?
Yeah, those are...
Doomsday.
Or Aquaman.
Oh my! The man who kills Superman, or the being that kills Superman, and Aquaman. Okay.
But honestly, I would I want to see Doomsday in that movie, or at least in a movie. Hell yeah! But if you're gonna put Aquaman in a movie, you should cast someone like him because he's buff and he's on Game of Thrones. He's obviously
he's gonna bring a fan base kind of to it too.
Yeah.
People might like Aquaman.
Yeah, you need a pool around that just because he's doing good.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, just because he's doing amazing in the comics now, doesn't mean that the movie audience is gonna accept him.
Yeah. All right, you want to start the spoiler part?
All right.
Yes.
So from here on out, we're gonna be spoiling the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So if you haven't seen it, or if you don't care,
if you don't care if it's spoiled,
stay on.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, I guess turn off.
All right. What did you like about it?
Like everything I liked about it?
Yeah. What are the 3 things you liked about it? And could you come up with 3 that you didn't?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But there still were.
Yeah, we loved it.
I've seen it twice now, and I loved it even more the second time because there's all kinds of things I can't wait to bring up. But 3 things I did like. I loved the web slinging when he's slinging around New York and shit. It is fucking beautiful. It's the best it's ever been done. Seriously. And they do that part where it's the camera's pointing down from his chest or his chin or neck area, and you see all that shit. It's so fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Second thing I liked, mainly it was fucking Sally Field as Aunt May. They didn't have her do much, but there's one fucking scene, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
It broke me down with her. And so Sally Field as Aunt May is really one thing that I really loved. And then the third thing is that they killed Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's just get it out there.
Yeah, she's
Gwen's dead.
And I'd read a spoiler before, so I knew going into the movie they were going to do it. And before I even read the spoiler, I kind of felt like they were going to do it. They're introducing Green Goblin. There are the shots of her in that, coat or whatever thing. And so many things were pointing to it. But if I hadn't read the spoilers, there would have been a lot of points in that movie where I was like, she's dying. She's fucking... There's so much foreshadowing to it. It's ridiculous.
I'd say my favorite things would have to be, number 1, the score, not the soundtrack. Cause
yes.
The music,
Hans Zimmer. Okay.
The band's playing music with the...
Yeah, Pharrell does some shit too.
Yeah. He actually worked with Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Which, that part...
The electro shit.
Yeah, okay. See, the score itself, the Spider-Man theme that we have now...
Oh, God.
Fucking...
It's brilliant.
It's amazing.
And it fits Spider-Man so much.
Yeah, and, there's a lot of, See, from what I hear for the electro theme is, all of us younger people were like, fuck yeah, that's tight. All these older people, a lot of older people were reviewing it, they're like, that was the dumbest part.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, oh my god, he's like, I can't even remember it. It was just, chanting his name.
Well, it was they... something, now they're the enemy, and before that it was he was your friend and he turned on you or and all this shit, and now he's the enemy.
It's the voices
Spider-Man's
in his head.
the enemy. Yeah, it's the voices in his head.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And it's kind of techno-ish.
Yeah.
Dubstep-ish, but it's not all these, it makes sense. It made sense to me, and I thought it was fucking sick.
Fit the scene.
Yeah. Perfectly. Both scenes that it was in.
My second favorite thing, honestly, the chemistry between Peter and Gwen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's because they're in a real relationship. That where
I'm sure that adds to it.
Yeah,
but I think they're both have the qualities to pull it off.
Oh
anyways.
yeah, definitely. I mean, they know what love is and stuff. And they know how people would do. Even if it was with another character, she would be able to give those, or another actor, she would be able to give those eyes.
Yeah.
You know, because she would probably, maybe even just thinking of him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but just the fact that they're together, you know, adds that even more. It's just like, oh, so we're on a date.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Third, it'd have to be the death.
Yeah, dude.
The death.
I mean, the way they handled it, it was beautiful. Like, he's fucking, when he webs out and it's going slow motion, and then it's like a little hand at the end of it just reaching in desperation to grab her.
Oh,
and
her face, it's kind of like she's like, he's going to get me, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And she's just looking at him the whole time.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, get me. Like you always do. Like you just did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you just saved me. Do it again.
And
it doesn't fucking happen.
No, and he breaks down, you know, holding her.
The head smacks, right?
That's what I believe. There's a bunch of arguments about it.
Dude, I heard that head smack. I've only seen one.
Some people think it's the neck snaps. Some people think it's, you know, the head bouncing. I think it's the head bouncing. You hear a smack. You don't hear like a snap, per se. You hear a fucking thud.
But when you see her head, like, kind of ricochet, like,
yeah.
Boop, up, like, it goes, hits the ground, comes up, and then goes down.
Yeah.
Where it's just, you know, limp, dead body.
Fucking,
she's bleeding from her nose.
Yeah, she starts bleeding from her nose. I would say it was that, and I think they did that because instead of Spider-Man, like, obviously he thinks it's his fault, but it's not totally his fault this way.
Yeah.
You know, in the comics, he fucking fucks up, and she's going so fast, and he's so far away, it snaps her neck. But, you know, in this, he got her a little too late, and her head smacked the ground. So, it's intense. And there's I read about some alternate things that the actors talked about during that scene. Should I bring those up now or later?
Let's get on to our what we dislike.
Okay. These are probably going to be harder for me to think because I really don't.
I can do mine now.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
Number one is all the things that were left out. Like the trailer, you know, like that whole...
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a petition to Sony that people have been signing and shit to fucking have a director's cut released on Blu-ray and shit.
Please.
So we can see all those scenes and the scenes I'm going to bring up.
Yeah, because, I mean, you signed Chris Cooper to play Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
You signed a fucking A-list actor. I don't know if he got a contract deal or not, but you signed him. Why are you gonna fucking waste him like that?
I don't think they are because there's this picture that's been floating around of, and maybe it's an unused scene or maybe they're gonna use it later, but that Mr. Fears or whatever, the gentleman, walking away from one of those like the 6 room things, walking away from one of them, and there's a head frozen or some shit in the thing.
They confirmed it on AMC Movie Talk the other day. That was the end credit scene.
But they didn't do it?
Didn't do it.
What the fuck, man?
Which, I mean, yeah, that's my problem, is that whole thing. Well, also, like, a big problem was, like, whenever you show Norman Osborn and he's just weak in a bit, like,
yeah,
I love that whole sickness part of it, yes. And, you know, how he had, like, goblin-like attributes.
Yeah.
But I was kind of hoping he would get healed or something.
Yeah.
And it's just an automatic. Of course, they don't show you the body, you know.
No. And speaking of that, there was a guy that interviewed Mark Webb that I read, and he asked Mark Webb about some stuff, and he asks him, "You remember that when they were cleaning up after Osborn dies, they're like cleaning up his room, you know, that he was in? There's a green light that kind of goes over the area where his head was." Like just a beam kind of thing that goes like zzz, zzz, really? And back down, goes up and then back down, just over the head area of the bed. And the guy asked him what that was, and Webb was like, "Oh, you caught that?" He was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Does it have to do with anything?" And Webb was like, "Oh yeah, it has to do with something." He's like, "What it necessarily is and what it does, I'm not totally sure yet, but it has to do with something."
Huh.
And I'm wondering if that's how they cut his head off.
Yeah.
You know, or what?
Well, yeah, because that's on. But like, there's the part in the trailer. It kind of made it seem like Harry knew he was Peter. I mean, that Spider-Man was Peter. You know.
When?
Whenever he's showing him that stuff. Like I remember in the trailer thinking that Harry knew he was gonna be Peter.
Well, it's because like I bet it's like one of those special project things.
Yeah.
Well, not really that, because when he finds out that, he gets kicked out of Oscorp and shit. But like, because I think when they're in that meeting or whatever, we're getting off topic. You're gonna have to finish your dislikes in a second. But let me finish this thought. When they're in that meeting or whatever, Colin Farrer's character, whatever his name is, the guy that everybody thought was gonna play the Adrian Toomes or whatever, the Vulture, but he's just some guy at Oscorp.
Yeah.
When the guy comes in and tells Harry when they're in that meeting, he's like, "There's a Mr. Peter Parker here for you." That guy fucking like looks up and like he's like, "Whoa, Peter Parker!" And so I think Oscorp, has been watching Peter because of his dad, Richard.
Yeah.
And I think that got cut out of the original film. Okay, that was what your first? No, that was your second one.
Yeah. That was my first, right?
I thought your first one dealt with Norman Osborn.
Well, I mean, it just dealt with. Well, yeah. Okay, so those are my two.
Oh, maybe it was just one. I don't know.
Well, no, yeah, because Norman Osborn not being in it enough is my two.
Okay.
My third, and this is pretty much the stuff that I wanted to be in it, and it's another problem with how you casted someone amazing. Like, yeah, Dennis Leary's awesome and stuff, and I get like, okay, he haunts him. What I would much rather have seeing things of him haunting him. Or at least, show that, but then show fucking Martin Sheen, Uncle Ben, be like, hey, man, no.
Yeah, I didn't really like that there wasn't any flashbacks of Uncle Ben either.
Where Uncle Ben just kind of, really pushed to the side, especially in the part where Sally Fields is like, yeah, like, I'm just going to put his stuff in a storage to help, help cope,
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all we got in Uncle Ben is like...
Well, and she talks about how she can't deal without him.
Yeah.
It's so hard without him.
Yeah. But damn. And there's a lot of people complaining where they're like, in the first one he didn't even say, with great power comes great responsibility. He never says that in the comic.
It's Stan Lee, right?
Yeah,
it's the narrator.
Yeah, it's the narrator.
It's basically Stan Lee saying
yeah. Like, it's on the last page and stuff. And the way I think the reason why they didn't have him say it, I think that they're waiting to have Peter say it.
Maybe. That'd be sick.
Because okay, Gwen's the whole thing that makes him quit being reckless.
Yeah.
And so in the third one, you get into with him being like, and the major thing I learned is, with great power comes great responsibility. Like, or maybe you could even have it like, and after all these years, I finally know what my Uncle Ben was trying to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you can get those people that shit. But I also understand why they didn't do it, because you have these first three movies where that's in it, a lot. So, they don't want to kind of keep on doing the same thing. But yeah, the major problem is the Dennis Leary shit. I have a huge problem with that.
Okay. Without also being Uncle Ben there.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing I'd have to say I disliked was, everybody's saying they felt the villains were rushed. I don't feel they were necessarily rushed that bad. The thing I felt was rushed was Goblin's screen time.
Yeah.
And he didn't put it up on much of a fight against Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that. And, so that was that. I loved the laugh.
Oh.
The Goblin giggle.
Dude, that part, gave me chills, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of people didn't like him, but I enjoyed Dane DeHaan or whatever throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite new coming actors.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Let's see. Secondly, when I first watched it, I remember there were a couple things I didn't like. But after watching it the second time, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't like that fucking Felicia Hardy was just kind of there.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is there's just like a lot of throwaway, it's for, for comic book people to be like, yeah. But
is that one of those Easter eggs that's like, there she is, and then that's it? Or is that one y'all are going to, expand upon?
Yeah, well, I also want to know Alistair Smythe. Are you going to expand upon him?
Oh, I hope so. Probably not, though, but... So, yeah, that... I guess the All-Star Spies can be in there with the second.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I didn't like about it... I don't know, dude.
I have a fourth one.
What?
It might be your third one. All this shit that was given away in the trailers.
Oh, yeah.
And, like...
I would have been so cool if they didn't say that Green Goblin was going to be in it at all. Because then I might go in thinking, okay, maybe she's not going to die.
Yeah! Most definitely.
Because if, like, they started talking about how, like, she's going to move to England, and he's like, I'm going to move with you. I'm like, okay. Third movie, they might introduce, like, how he doesn't go to England with her. But she's in England, and then, because I'm pretty sure in the comics, when she's in England, that's where she cheats on him.
Yeah, oh, and she does have the kids there. She has the kids there, and then comes back.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that will be my third one. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
all the shit they gave away in the trailers.
Who the fuck
They gave away the final scene.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Who the fuck puts the final scene in the trailer? Especially
and what's funny, I think it's the final scene in one of the trailers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's, I mean, the exact, like... Oh, man. What do you think of Paul Giamatti's Rhino? Everyone is against it.
I love it.
I think it's fucking awesome.
That's Rhino. He's a dumbass. He's over the top. He's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want?
What are y'all people reading?
What do you want? You want Rhino to be sophisticated, Bane?
I could understand people have a problem with the armor. I like the armor. But I can see you talking about that. But character-wise, that's how I've always kind of seen the fucking Rhino. He's an idiot who just runs his head into things. That's why Spider-Man can beat him by just going to a wall, having him run towards him, jump up, and his head's stuck in a wall. Yeah,
because what else is Rhino going to do? He gets to throw some punches, but he's going to try and use that horn, you know?
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to dwell into the plot. We're going to go through the movie.
All right.
Okay.
Scene 1 is falling.
Scene 1, no it's not. Scene 1 is his parents.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb shit.
Throw $1.
Throw $1 in it. Yeah, so the scene, I'm trying to remember. It opens up with Richard Parker at Oscorp, I believe. And he's like doing all this shit, and then he starts killing all these spiders.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes home, and he's like doing this like video diary on the computer saying like, some people might think I'm bad, but I'm just doing this, some shit. And he's like, you hear Peter call in the background, and he's like, I'm sorry. And then he cuts the thing off, and then he runs in there. And I guess it's from that scene in the first one where someone like broke into their house and tore apart his office and shit.
Yeah.
And that's what Peter was calling for. So he goes in there, and then it shows them going and dropping him off at Uncle Ben's house. And then they go and they get on the plane. And he's he's on the computer, and his wife, Mary Parker and Richard Parker. And they're sitting across from each other, and he's on the computer trying to like send something, I think. Or like delete it. I think he's trying to, I don't know. Process needs to be complete.
Yeah.
And she's like, they're all talking, and she goes into the bathroom, and then this guy comes out of the pilot area. And he's like, working on something or some shit. And he starts washing his hands, and Richard's like, yeah. And he's like, what you working on? And Richard like looks up and sees that he's washing like blood off his hands. And then he's like, says something. He's like, can I talk to the pilot? He's like, what do you need to talk to him about? And he's like, I'm just going to make sure someone called ahead or something and everything's all arranged. And he gets up, and that guy pulls a gun on him and starts telling him, all this shit.
That he locks her in the shitter.
He locks her in the shitter.
And I was like, no, you can't die in the shitter.
No. And fucking gets the laptop, closes the laptop. He doesn't complete what he's doing. The guy puts a parachute on, he's got the gun. He's about to fucking shoot him. Well, she busts through the door, and so he turns around and smacks her, and then Richard gets up and, grabs his arm.
Yeah.
And so they start to have a tussle. And they're fucking fighting or whatever, and then she comes and hits him over the head or some shit with a glass or some shit. And eventually she gets shot.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in a seat. And he fucking knocks that dude out or some shit. He gets knocked out after she gets shot or something. I don't know. They're still fighting. Richard locks himself in a seat, and that guy gets on top of him, and like Richard looks over and he sees his fucking wife's dead. It's like, dude, it's real emotional.
Oh yeah.
It's a really emotional scene, and he fucking shoots the glass, one of the windows, because that guy's trying to pull a gun on him, trying to push it towards him, and Richard pushes it away and shoots the glass, and all the glass shatters, and so all this shit, and that guy gets fucking thrown out of the plane, but he's strapped in, and so he fucking opens up the laptop, finishes the process or whatever, and then he looks over at his wife, and she's just sitting there, and then shows like an outside view of the plane coming down, crashes, and then the next scene is him falling, Spider-Man falling.
But for those of you who don't know, that is pretty much a way that, like, that's the way that they die in the comics, in a way.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's the Ultimate or the 616 one, and that's how they die.
It's the 616 because they were S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Well, they were government agents or some shit in the old one.
Really?
No, I think they might have been S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Yeah, because
they worked with Wolverine.
Because I looked up, I was looking up tons of stuff last night, and on Spider-Man, I just dived in.
Yeah.
And this one dude did a 30-minute history of Spider-Man, and he talked about all that stuff. And he said they were S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and it was a part of Hydra who took them down. So, but this was a good way to handle it, as Norman, because we can't have...
You set up the whole, Norman's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah. But now we got Norman in like a little... If we have him at all, he's ahead.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll get to that. But, all right, the next scene...
The second scene, he's fallen.
He's fallen, and he's webbing, he's fucking beating Spider-Man. Hans Zimmer, score, that song's going off.
Oh, God.
Awesomely. He's flying next to helicopters, and they're like, I think news helicopters getting because Alexia Selvage, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti, Rhino.
Yeah.
Before he's Rhino, is driving a fucking big-ass tow truck thing that has an armored car on the back of it, and it's got like some kind of chemical I don't know, some kind of thing.
Some ooze.
All this shit, yeah. Ooze-looking shit on the thing, and he fucking... I need to quit saying
It happens,
I know, but he God, I was about to say it again. I'm so mad.
Throw a in it.
Throw a ew. Anyway, Spider-Man jumps on top of that shit, and he starts fucking with Rhino, because Rhino's driving, and Spider-Man's just like, hey, he's like knocking on the window, hey, criminal guy, can I help you? All this shit, and he starts shooting at Spider-Man's face, and he goes, jumps up on top, and you just see Spider-Man's feet, like, from the top down, and he like puts his head down, and he's like, you're kind of mean or some shit like that. And he's like having trouble with his gun, and he can't drive at the same time. Spider-Man's like, can I help you with that? And starts like driving the car. And that's when you see Max Dillon. Is that his name, Max Dillon?
Yeah, Max Dillon.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Electro.
Yeah.
Well, he's just Max Dillon at this point. He's carrying all these blueprints. And while Spider-Man, he's turning the corner with Paul Giamatti, and he sees Jamie Foxx out there. So he's like, 1 second, and he jumps out there, and like Max had lost all of his blueprints because somebody knocked him and the wind kind of took him. And he's gathering them all up, so he's about to be hit by the truck. And Spider-Man swings in and saves his ass, and Max is like dumbfounded.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, he starts saying like, "You saved me." He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "These look important." He webs up the blueprints.
Did you? What is it? Batman Forever is one with Two-Face and stuff, right?
Yeah.
One reviewer said it's the best Batman Forever remake I've ever seen.
Oh. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. But, I mean, he was kind of like Jim Carrey's Edward Nygma in a way. Like, looks-wise.
Yeah, kind of.
And then,
looks-wise.
Yeah. Glasses and nerd and...
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about, like, the costume.
No. Oh, no, I'm not talking about Electro.
Yeah.
Like
Max Dillon.
Yeah, Max Dillon.
Edward Nygma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people were saying it was like Batman Forever because like, you know, these two heroes kind of like, or these two villains kind of like team up and all this shit. I loved it though.
Oh yeah.
But he saves Max Dillon and he's all talking to him and he's like, yeah, gotta be more careful, Max, or whatever. And he's like, you know my name. How you know my name? And he's like, it's on your name tag or whatever. And he's like, lick this. And he like makes him lick his fingers, and then he starts fixing his hair. Spider-Man starts fixing his hair. It's so funny. And he's like, all right, I gotta go.
He's like,
he tells me, you're my eyes and ears. And fucking, you know, webs off Spider-Man style. And
that begins.
Yeah, and he gets back onto, you know, Rhino's truck and shit. Or Rhino had like crashed it.
Yeah.
And or he like pressed the brakes and all the cops like fucking. Oh, was this? Yeah, I guess the scene already happened where he was juggling all the vial things because he was trying to catch them all.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to get them all. It was really Spider-Man-like because he's trying to get all these ones, and then one pops out, and like they're explosive as fuck, so like they can't be like run over or some shit like that. And so he jumps out and puts all the other ones in a big ass web and webs them, and then grabs the other, like he's going after the other one, and then puts it up, webs it, and then saves Max, I think.
Yeah.
And then that's when Rhino hits the brakes and all the cops fucking smash into him. Gets out, runs, and grabs that last one by itself that Spider-Man webbed up, and he's running, and Spider-Man starts jumping after him, and he's shooting, and fucking Spider-Man's just dodging all the bullets, and then he fucking webs one hand and to one wall, like across him, and then webs the other one across him to this other wall, and so his arms are crossed. And then he fucking webs his pants down. And if you look, I looked this up online. I saw it online. I didn't actually like.
You see his dick.
No, what the fuck?
Oh.
His underwear has rhinos on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you see his dick. You fucking weirdo.
That's where I always hope people are gonna go with this.
Yeah,
you look really closely.
No, okay.
See his pussy.
No. And while all this is going down, his graduation is happening, and Gwen's the valedictorian.
Oh yeah, he's calling her.
He's giving her a
Or
speech.
she's calling him.
There's a point where they're on the phone and talking and shit, and Anna, all over. But he goes to he finally makes it to the graduation, like right when they're saying his name. And as he's running up, like, you see Stan Lee in the crowd. And
my God.
And then they go, Peter Parker, and he starts going up on stage, and Stan Lee's like, I think I know that guy.
Which makes me rethink my whole idea of, like, what I thought was my favorite Stan Lee.
Oh, I know.
Which was from the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that Stan Lee cameo was awesome, and then this one's fucking just as awesome.
Yeah.
But, man. I always notice that shit when I'm trying to tell long stories. It'd be nice if you could cut in and try and remember some of the fucking movie, too.
I was just letting you go.
Come
I
on.
remember the movie.
Come on, okay, then you start saying what was happening in the movie.
Where were we
And
at?
I'll chime in if you forget something. He finally gets to the graduation.
Oh, yeah, and there's that, like, she's giving her speech, you know. She gives her speech first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
she gives her speech.
He misses it.
Yeah, because Aunt May's recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And then right whenever, you know, they're calling names, they say Peter Parker, and he runs up there and just makes out with her all hard.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's them, like, it's them talking to each other.
He
after.
runs up to Aunt May.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, hugs her and shit. And she's like, I wish your Uncle Ben could have been here to see you. Well, she's all like, you know what your Uncle Ben would have said to you if he was here? And he was like, yeah, you got to get a job and you got to start living life or all this shit. And she's like, no, he would say, don't follow a road or something like that. Make your own path.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and he quotes, like, he says the person who actually says that. And she's like, what? And he's like, it's by whatever. And she's like, no, Ben told me he always came up with that. And she's like, oh, I guess you did learn something here. And then, like, you see Gwen over there with her family.
Yeah. And so you kind of see Gwen's family. So then he's supposed to go to a dinner with her and her family. And that's whenever he starts... is that whenever he first sees...
Yeah, because she starts walking back over there. Or it's like right when he looks over there at him, he's like behind him, just fucking staring him down. I think that's when they first bring up... They kind of show from the first movie when he tells him, keep Gwen out of it.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know already, that's totally backwards.
Yeah.
That's ass backwards.
Yeah, he wants...
He wants Spider-Man to protect Gwen. But for the movie, I can see why they did that. Because they're showing more and more, like, he was like, leave her out of it, she's going to die. She's going to get hurt or something. And she did.
I know, but I like it even more where it's like, fuck, I broke my promise.
Yeah, I like it more that way. Because there's that whole part where he actually goes to meet her because he has that thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's the next scene. He goes to meet her and eat with her family, and he's like outside and he starts like tearing up and shit looking at her, and she goes outside to talk to him, and he basically says, I promised your dad I wouldn't do this. And she's like, well, we talked about this. And he's like, well, I don't want to fucking... What kind of person does that make me if I promised him while he was dying to do something, I'm doing this?
Yeah.
And so they kind of break up.
Yeah.
They break up.
That's a lot to get off and get into this movie.
Yeah. Shit, dude.
And some stalking.
Yeah, he stalks her for a bit.
Yeah. Well, and Max Dillon's a stalker, too.
Yeah, you see him at one point. It's on his birthday.
Yeah.
And he's in his apartment, turns all the lights on, there's Spider-Man shit everywhere.
Like,
all over the walls and everything, and he's talking to himself, but he's like, hey, Spider-Man, he's like, all this shit, and then he talks as Spider-Man to himself.
yeah.
It's really weird. I'm trying to remember what's after.
We can just talk about the major points.
Yeah, I guess we're not totally good.
But, J. Jonah Jameson kind of makes an appearance.
Yeah, that's one thing I was about to bring
Well,
up.
they talk about him.
They talk about him because she's on the phone with someone, like her boss at the diner, Aunt May is, and she's saying he's gonna have to find a replacement for her because she's about to be a full-time nurse. She's about to take the test for it, and she's about to work a double or some shit. And she gets off the phone and tells Peter, and he's like, "You don't have to work a double." And he's like, "I can just take some more photos for the Daily Bugle." Or she tells him, I don't know, something. And she's like, "You need to tell J. Jonah." Or you need to tell, she's like, "You need to tell that man that he needs to pay you a fair wage." And he's like, "Jameson?" He's like, "Oh, he pays me a fair wage. If it's 1961, he pays me a fair wage."
Yeah. And then you get the...
Yeah, then I don't remember if it's right after that. I think it might be.
Yeah.
He sends him more photos, and he says, "I think it'd be cool if we, or I think you should lay off Spider-Man. I think he's trying to help people." And then J. Jonah, you just see his reply, "Wrong!" Like all caps. Oh.
And you know whose voice you hear.
Yo, you totally hear J.K. Simmons' voice.
Yeah, I mean, because that's who they want. And that's who plays him in the cartoon right now.
Really?
Yeah, like, and in that whole Marvel universe, whenever he comes up, like, he's come up in the Hulk show, and I think that they said he's going to come up in the Avengers show that they have going
that's
on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, he loves that character, too.
Yeah.
It's all just a matter of...
scheduling.
Yeah.
And shit. Yeah. No, yeah, so there was that Easter egg kind of thing with that.
Which, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. I guess we can talk about what happens first. Oh, I guess we'll just go to when Harry arrives.
Yeah, Harry
talks to his dad.
Harry gets there. You know, he was at a boarding school for a while, and he's living like a playboy life.
Yeah, and he graduated, and then just started kind of like traveling the world or some shit.
Yeah, he's just fucking supermodels and shit.
Yeah,
just being a playboy, and like that's why his dad's sitting there telling him, he's like, you wasted so much potential.
Yo, he tells him, he's like, I never thought on my deathbed or whatever I'd be sitting here dying, and my son would be next to me, and I'd see a stranger.
Yeah,
and he's like, "You're the one that sent me away," and all this shit. And then Norman's just like, he's like, "You have no idea." And he's like, "I did that for you." And he's like, "My whole life, I've been working on something for you." He starts telling him, he's like, "Hey, is your fucking hand twitching?" And you see Norman, he's like nasty looking. Like,
he has his nails are just claws.
Yeah, they're basically talons.
Yeah, I mean like goblins.
Yeah, he's like mutating kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells him, he's like, "Has your hand started twitching yet?" And he's like, "It's the fucking Osborn curse."
Mm-hmm.
The disease we get, and you have it, and it's gonna kill you and all this shit.
And he tells him that, and it fucking hits.
Yeah, and so there's that whole scene, and then dies right after that scene.
He's dead. They don't show the body.
No, they don't show the body. They show right after that scene. It goes to Peter at a coffee store.
Yeah,
or a coffee shop, and he's just like on something. I don't know. I think that's actually might be when he fucking texted J. Jonah, and then he looks up and sees all that, and then it goes to them cleaning out his room, and you see that green bar I was talking about.
Yeah.
And it shows, like, an old video of him talking about Oscorp, and he's like, I saw the world, and I thought we could do better, or some shit like that. So that's what he's trying to do. He's an asshole, you know.
Yeah.
Total dick. Wow, we hit the hour mark already.
Good.
Yeah, we gotta keep going.
But, yeah, so...
And then Peter goes and visits Harry, and they're in this fucking... Well, Harry's in this meeting with that, call him, I'm just going to say Colm.
Yeah.
C-O-L-M, that guy. The one that everybody thought was going to play the Vulture guy. He is in a meeting with that guy and a bunch of other people, and Harry's like, telling, he's like, you fucking, he doesn't say fucking, obviously, but he's like, you don't think, he's like, I see what you're all saying, 20-year-old kid fell into a business or a corporation or whatever, and he's like, basically, like, says some shit to that Colm guy, because he's like, he doesn't really like him.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, what's your name? And then you see Felicia Hardy. She's like, Felicia. And he's like, Felicia. He's like, you work for me. Or he's like, everybody here now works for Felicia. And he's like, because Felicia works for me. And that's when that guy comes up and he's like, there's a Mr. Peter Parker for you. He's like, okay. And so he goes down there.
And, you know, they have, like, a little, like, it's kind of awkward
Yeah,
at
it's
first.
kind of awkward.
They haven't seen each other in years, but they were best friends.
Yeah.
And stuff. And, you know, Peter's just there because he's like, you know, I heard your fucking dad died.
Yeah, and you were there for me when my, you know, stuff with my parents happened.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see if you're okay.
And, you know, Harry's just kind of like, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, his dad just died and he had an awkward moment with him right before. So
yeah, and I think, you know, him being, you know, the head of this, you know, of Oscorp now
stressing
was
him
really weird to him. And
Yeah.
he was like, I'm in a meeting right now. And, like, the way he played it, I was like, he's like, he really does not want to be in a meeting as this guy or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like he wants to hang out with Peter.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and so Peter's like, I'm sorry about your dad. He starts walking off, and then he's like, oh, you got your braces off. And Peter turns around, and Harry's like, now there's nothing to take away from your unibrow. And Peter just goes, did you blow dry your hair or something like that? And he's like, well, I had one of my people hold the blow dryer, but I combed it. So I'm not totally helpless.
Yeah.
And they hug.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
shit.
it's
And
like-
then I think then it goes to them hanging out and talking, and he talks about Gwen. And that's when, you know, Harry brings up he was banging supermodels and shit.
Yeah.
And doesn't tell Peter he's dying yet.
Yeah.
And then I guess we'll bring up
Max Dillon is in, you know, he's trying to leave Oscorp that day. And he runs
it's
into
his
Gwen.
birthday.
Yeah, it's his birthday. He runs into
He
Gwen.
runs into Gwen. They have a conversation on the elevator.
It's another little, you know my name?
Yeah.
And then the elevator door closes.
It's on him. Oh, I laughed so hard. Oh, God. Because he's looking up at Spiderman on the screen, you know, because he's like, wouldn't it, that must be amazing to have everybody look at you like that.
Yeah.
He's like, he saved my life once. Out of everybody in
Yeah,
this
we're
city,
friends.
He saved my life. Well, he has that, like, Max's birthday thing and all this shit, like, in his hand. She's like, oh, is it your birthday? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, all my friends are throwing me a party later, and there's a bunch of celebrities and stuff. And he's like, I invite you, but the guest list is closed or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. Thank you, though. And the thing, like, the floor opens up, and she's like, bye, Max. And he's still looking at Spider-Man. He's like, oh, you know my name?
Yeah.
She knows my name.
But then, you know, he's trying to leave. And
He's trying to leave, and BJ Novak.
Alistair Smythe.
Again, because it already introduced him earlier.
Yeah.
And this is the second time he tells him to stay and go check out something.
The like,
Some shit happened.
because electric eels run the whole power for the city.
Is that what you got out of that? I had no idea. Why
Because they
were
said
there.
Oscorp runs the whole power for the city, and that's what they wanted him to go fix, and it was electric eels.
Yeah. And he's like, but it's my birthday. And he's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
He's like, why do I have to stay? And he's like, because you're special.
Yeah.
And he fucking
goes up there, and then he calls the dude to tell him to turn off the thing, and he's like, nope, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and he's like, but I gotta do this thing, and he's like, sorry, heading out the door. And so he goes up there, and he's about to plug it in, and he's singing happy birthday to himself. Plugs it in, and like with the music, you think it's about to explode.
Yeah.
Plugs it in, and he's like, nothing happens. He's like, okay, and just sets it into the thing, and then that's when he gets electrocuted and shit, and then falls into the pole, this little pole thing
of electric eels.
And they start electrocuting his ass, and I think like a thing fell in there too.
Yeah.
And they start biting his ass too,
mm-hmm.
and he gets fucked up, and the glass breaks, and the eels fall out, and he's just sitting there. And
I guess that's how you can kind of get away with the eels getting the power, because obviously if there's mutated spiders, these eels were probably mutated and they were biting them.
Yeah.
So that's how he got the electric power. That's one thing I was kind of confused on.
Maybe that could, yeah, that's a pretty good explanation on it. Yeah, I don't exactly.
I mean, because there's no way eels are gonna fucking power a whole town or a whole fucking New York.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously they look at them also. Like,
yeah, they're weird.
They're mutated.
Their faces, yeah, they're pretty intense. So that's pretty good theory.
Oh, it's not a theory. I'm right.
Okay, you're right. And they take his body to some place, and he fucking eventually wakes up, fucking has all powers,
yeah,
and shit, and he starts walking the streets. And at this time, Gwen and Peter haven't talked in a while, and I think it's been like months and shit.
Yeah,
and they finally get together and talk, and they have this romantic scene. Yeah, and he tells her how he's been following her. It comes up in conversation, and that's when he has a spider sense go off for what is it, Times Square or whatever.
Yeah,
and she's like, "What?" And she looks that way, and then she looks back over, and he pulled a Batman, and all his clothes are right there on the tree and shit, and his shoes are there, and he took off, and it shows Max walk up and like open up one of those crates. Like underground or whatever.
Which
it's got cords.
This whole scene is from the Ultimate Comics.
Really?
Yeah, and it's even in the Ultimate Spider-Man video game.
That's sick.
Like a kind of version of it in the video game, but yeah, that's the way it all goes down. Not like the eel. I don't know about the eels and stuff, but like whenever he first runs into Electro, it's him powering up through the city and
in Times Square.
Yeah, and they fight.
That's cool.
And he's using all the.
Screens,
yeah, and like gathering their power.
Yeah, and so Max Dillon shows up there, and he's like fucking he's like powering up or whatever with all those things, and this cop pulls his gun on him, and he's like, wait, no, and he like backs up into the street, and this car almost hits him, but he fucking, just I guess out of instinct, hits it with like this electric power thing, and picks it up over him and sets it down on its, top beside him, and then. All these cops just start showing up, and they're surrounding him, and he's like, please don't, whatever, and they're throwing gas bombs or whatever in there, and he's like, quit, and I said stop, boom, fucking explosion, knocks all the cars back, and one car's flying, and it's about to land on this cop, and Spider-Man comes in and does this badass, thing over the car, and grabs it, and has it on his back before it can hit the guy, and he's like, too bad. He says too bad you aren't one of those guys that ride a horse, or good thing you aren't one of those guys that ride a horse, or some shit like that. Kind of tosses the car over, and that cop's like, don't fire until my command or whatever. Hold fire. Spider-Man showed up, and so that's when Spider-Man's like, hey Sparkles, and Max Dillon's like Spider-Man, like, oh, and this is I think when all the cameras are showing Max all over the screens.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, everybody's seen me. And,
which I love that part of
yeah,
him
it's
being
cool.
like finally he got what he wanted.
And then Spider-Man shows up, and he's like, it's you. And he's like, yeah, it's me. Who are you? He's like, you don't remember me? And he's like, am I supposed to? He's like,
you helped me.
You saved my life, or something like that. And he's like,
the guy with the papers, I'm pretty sure, something like that.
He doesn't say that. Spider-Man goes, oh, with the blueprints?
Yeah, blueprints.
And he's like, blueprints? And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. And he's like, you're my eyes and ears. And he's like, it was kind of hard to recognize you with all this going on or something like that. And he's like, well, you don't remember my name? And he's like, don't tell me or whatever. And he's like, it's Max. And he's like, is it Max? And he's like, yes. And he's like, all right, Max. And he starts like talking to him.
Yeah.
Whereas like him and Max are gonna go off and they're gonna go talk about all this.
Yeah.
And he starts stepping backwards. And Spider-Man's like, don't step back. And like at this time, there's this like a sniper on Max or Electro now.
Yeah.
And he steps back and starts like he steps in one of those wires and he's like kind of sends off a shock, but it's nothing big. And then that fucking guy shoots him, and Spider-Man's like, "No, you fucking idiot," you know. And then Max fucking blew because that guy was like on, the side of one of those buildings on one of those screens. And he fucking busts that shit down. I think that guy died. Pretty sure that guy died.
Yeah.
But then this screen starts falling. And it's about to fall on this guy, and Spider-Man like whips around and webs him and pulls him back. And everybody starts cheering Spider-Man after that. And they're like, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. And then I think that's when all the screens go to Spider-Man. And so Max gets pissed at that. Electro gets pissed.
Yeah.
And it's so sick, this scene. And he sends that, he's like, he set me up. He's like, I didn't set you up. He's like, what are you talking about? And that's when all those voices are going off. They start going off. And he fucking hits this, shoots all this electricity in the ground, and he hits this car into the air, and it's about to land on this old man or something. And Spider-Man jumps back, and, he fucked up one of Spider-Man's web things. His web cartridge. Or maybe, I don't know, he catches the car somehow from killing the old man. And I think Electro sends another one, and that fucks up one of his web shooters.
Yeah, like it zooms in on it.
Yeah, and then it sends all this electric shock up the metal rails of this staircase that all these people are on, and this wife holding her baby's about to grab the pole, and then this other guy's about to grab it, and Spider-Man jumps and he's doing a backflip, and he only has one web shooter now, so he sends some out and grabs it with his left hand. And then throws it that way, and then he webs and grabs the guy's hand, and then he webs that way and grabs the mom's hand, and then pulls them and crosses his arms, and it yanks both their arms away before they can die.
Coolest use of spider sense I've ever seen.
Oh, it was so sick. Movie. Oh yeah, and execution. I loved how he saved all these people.
Yeah,
it shows him saving all these people individually and shit. I love it.
That's why Spider-Man can stand alone. Without being in the Avengers and stuff like that, because he can handle his own.
Usually,
usually,
But yeah, he's really good about.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, especially now that he's been in it for years.
Yeah, and then I think after that, Spidey fucking webs a fire hydrant.
Yeah,
and he's twirling it, and he's about to hit Max Dillon with it, and Electro fucking hits him with a electric ray or whatever. Yeah. I don't really know what to call him.
Yeah,
electric ray thing. Power blast. And then Spider-Man hits him at the same time with that fucking fire hydrant. Sends him flying into his screen and sends Spider-Man flying into a bus stop kind of place. And Electro, flies out of there because he pulls some of the wires in that screen he's in and gets charged up. And then he pulls out of there and just starts fucking one big ass blast, boom, and that was so cool because it was all quiet. And when he did that, the music, the score kicked in again, boom, and he blows up all these screens and all these buildings and shit, and all this mayhem's going on, and he just starts fucking throwing those electric rays on the ground at people and hitting all this shit, and the cops are trying to shoot at him, and he can just melt the bullets basically with his his electricity. Because they show at one point when the cops are shooting at him, he's has his hands out and all the bullets are just fucking evaporating or some shit. And he's fucking all this shit up. And then one cop's like, "Yeah, do you have eyes on Spidey? Where's Spidey?" And he's still fucking shit up. And then out of nowhere, he just gets hit with all this water. And then you see Spider-Man with 3 other firemen, and he's got one of the fireman helmet on. The fireman helmet.
That's my favorite scene of the whole movie.
That shit was so funny.
I mean,
it was so funny. I laughed so hard both times.
Just like, you don't need him to say anything either. It's amazing. Then he just starts high-fiving the
Yeah, he starts
firemen.
high-fiving the firemen and
And
stuff.
I love that, too, because I want the firemen and the police force to be on his side.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the police force not to, of course.
Yeah.
But, I love that, like, this is jumping forward a bit, but whenever he comes back, and that cop sees him,
Yeah.
and he's just so happy, like,
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
Well, and there's this, when he later in the movie, like you said, when he's not Spider-Man, for those, like, weeks or months or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, even the cops, everyone wants Spider-Man back. But anyways, they catch Electro, and then they seal him up at Ravencroft.
Yeah.
And then, I'm trying to remember.
Which, for those of you who don't know, Ravencroft is the equivalent of Arkham Asylum for Batman.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And it shows the character. I don't know his name, but he's like the doctor that like starts talking to Electro.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real character that works at Ravencroft, but it's a woman usually in the comics.
Mm.
And in this movie, it's a guy, and he's like foreign. I don't know if she's foreign or not, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it's quite funny. And that's when Electro actually announces himself as Electro. He's talking to him and all that shit, And I'm trying to remember, like, he's just, like, Electro's like, I want to see how fucking powerful I can get. And the guy's like, okay, go. I want to see, too.
Yeah.
And Electro starts doing it and, like, breaks part of the guy's glasses, and he's like, impressive, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they put him back in.
They dunk him.
Yeah, they have him in water, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember exactly what happens after that. Some shit with Harry, I think.
That's whenever Harry starts looking.
There's this, because it really dwells into Peter trying to find out about his parents.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's this whole...
It's like detective...
He has all this shit on his wall.
Yeah.
Trying to find what happened to his dad. And then Aunt May finds it. And there's that huge scene I was talking about that's really big between those two.
You've seen it twice now. Did that song take you out of it?
When he starts putting all the shit up?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really?
No.
I don't know why that song just takes me. I like that song too. It just. I need to see it again, but it just didn't fit for me that time.
I mean, I don't know.
Like I said, I love the score. It's just like shit like that.
Yeah, but then Aunt May is like having this thing, and she's like talking to him. She's like, "Why do you need to know about your dad?" She's like, "He left you here. I'm doing everything I can to put you into college. Me and your Uncle Ben raised you." And she's like, "All I think is you're my boy, and all this shit." And he starts tearing up too, and he like fucking grabs her by her head, and they put their heads together, and he's like, "I'm your boy. I know.
Yeah.
I'm your boy." He's like, "You're enough for me. You're enough for me. That's not what this is about."
Yeah.
It's fucking emotional.
Dude, that tore me apart.
Yeah.
Because I already love Sally Fields as Aunt May. And I love Aunt May.
Yeah, did you see some shit like that?
I mean, Aunt May is one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man mythos.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
And so there's that, and then I'm pretty sure there's like... Oh, yeah, because I was going to say he finds out Gwen's going to England, and she told him that right before he went and fought Electro. And so at the end of that scene, after they catch Electro and everything, all the people had walked off, but there's just Gwen there, and Andrew Garfield walks up to her and he's like, "England? Really?"
Mm-hmm.
And then just webs off. And then she's like, "Okay, nice conversation." Some shit like that. And so I think here's where, there's this scene where he goes and tries to talk to her before she talks to the Oxford people.
Yeah.
She goes and talks to him. And
It's just real awkward for her.
And then I think there's the scene after that is where I'm just trying to kind of skim through it now and get to the major parts that are unfolding. Harry is... Oh, God, well, we totally left all that shit out. Harry had Peter come in at one point and try and ask him if he could get Spider-Man...
Oh, yeah, to get
his blood.
Yeah.
Peter's like, "I don't know." And eventually, Harry convinces Peter. Peter's like, "Okay, I'll ask Spider-Man." And at that same point, Gwen's, at Oscorp, and she searches for Max Dillon in the database because she knew that it was Max as Electro.
Yeah.
And she can't find him because took him off, and they're covering it up and everything, you know. And so the people, like the security guys,
start
coming after her. And there's a cool scene with them in the what?
Oh well, that closet scene with him and Gwen.
Yeah, and then when he's like covering for her.
That's my second favorite part.
That shit's so funny.
Is like all the shit that he does with
he like webs the coffee thing, and they're walking down the hallway, and she's trying to get into an elevator first, and he webs like a coffee thing, and at the perfect moment he starts walking, he's like, oh, and spills it on the guy. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and starts patting him down, and like turns him around and takes his jacket off.
Yeah.
And then gets down on the ground to grab his coffee cup or whatever, trips the other guy that's walking, gets up, and then turns that guy around and hits that other guy on accident. He's like, oh, I'm all thumbs today, or something like that.
He ties her shoes together too, right?
He ties that guy's shoes.
Yeah.
Her.
Huh?
You said ties her shoes together.
Oh.
I was like, why would he tie Gwen's?
I thought I said there.
He just ties that one guy's.
Yeah.
And he falls and shit. They're like, hey, miss. And she gets in there, and then she's in there with Harry, and that's when she first meets Harry. But yeah, and so they're covering it up, and Peter, as Spider-Man, goes and talks to Harry.
Which rules.
At his apartment.
Like that part.
Tells him, he's like, you can't have my blood. And then Harry's like, okay, what do you want? You want a boat? You want a house? You want money? And he's like, I don't want your money. And he's like, everybody wants my money. He's like, I don't. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't know what it'll do to you. And he's like, you can't kill me more.
I'm already dying.
Yeah. He's like, but it could do something worse. He's like, what's worse than dying? Some shit. Then he leaves, and Harry's like, you're a fake Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Throws his shit.
He curls up in the fetal position.
On his couch, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that broke me. I was like, oh my, because he's like, now I have
nothing. I'm dying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved it.
You're supposed to be the fucking hero to this
Yeah,
place.
he's like, people say you're supposed to have hope for you, or something. You bring hope. It's intense.
Yeah.
But then later on, after some of the scenes we've talked about, Harry's at, I think Oscorp, and Felicia's there, and he's like, go home, Felicia. All this shit, and she's like, says something, and he's like, I don't know, she brings up that he can find this shit called Special Projects, which is stuff off the book.
Yeah.
Because he brings up that he needs they killed all the spiders and shit, and she's like, yeah, they killed all the spiders, but they harvested the venom from them and kept the venom. He's like, what? And she's like, yeah, you can check it out under Special Projects. And when he goes under there to check it out, he sees the whole Max Dillon file, and they're keeping him at Ravencroft, and he sees that it says approved by Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
And as he's checking it out, that calm guy or whatever that works for him that's a dickhead busts in with his security guards, and he's like, you're fired or something like that. And he's like, Harry's like, you're holding him up like a rat or something.
Yeah.
You're holding people up and experimenting on them. And he's like, you approved this. And Harry's like, no, you approved it. And they're like, you're fired and all this shit. And then Harry's like, see his way out. And Harry's like, oh, I know my way home.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and he goes to Ravencroft. And fucking busts in, goes to Electro, and he starts telling him, like, to help him and shit. And this is when Harry really started, like, Dane started really being cool.
Yeah.
He started being a villain. He's like, saying something, Electro's like, why shouldn't I just kill you? Because he's Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, you're not seeing the big picture here, Max. And he's like, you can kill Spider-Man or some shit like that. He starts talking to him, and he's like, I gotta let you out. And then all these people start coming in, and he's like, Max, I need you. That's when he starts saying, I need you. Mm-hmm. And Max is like, you need me?
Yeah.
He's like, I need you. And so...
Yeah, that just hits Max.
Yeah,
right
they fucking grab Harry and start pulling him back, and they fucking hit him. And when they hit him, fucking, he, like, evaporate. Or he does, I don't know what he does.
Kind of does, like, like the guy from Watchmen. I can't think of his
Dr.
name.
Manhattan or whatever.
Yeah.
Mr.
Like
Manhattan. What?
Dr. Manhattan. Yeah, he kind of does like a Dr. Manhattan, just kind of...
Goes away.
Yeah.
And then, like, zaps all those dudes, like, in the face and shit. Fucks them all up. And then appears again. And Harry's like, fuck yeah. He kills that doctor guy. Or he doesn't kill him. He zaps his ass, and then puts him in the thing.
Yeah.
He was locked in.
Yeah. which I think would kill him.
Yeah, because he might drown, you know?
I don't know if that water was meant to keep a person alive. Like, if it's like some kind of like, it's not water, you know, like it's like a certain type of liquid.
Maybe, I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, because he was like shocking and like.
Yeah. So he probably died. But
yeah, and then they're like, let's go get you some clothes, Electro.
yeah, because he tells him, Harry brought up that they stole the power plant from him.
Yeah.
That he came up with the power plant and he didn't get credit for it. He's like, you can take back what's yours. First, you got to help me take back what's mine, or something like that. And so they go into Oscorp, and that calm guy or whatever, like, it's some badass shit because he fucking, like, Electro flicks his finger and, like, busts all that, like, the desk and all this shit up and, like, hits him into the window and shit. Mm-hmm. And then Column's trying to act like a badass, and, like, Harry walks in and says something to him. And the guy says, "You're never gonna," I don't know, some shit. And Electro just zaps him in the shoulder.
And he, like
falls over. I think he dies.
I'm pretty sure he dies. And then
falls over, and then, like, Harry's like, "That's not the answer we were looking for." Then he starts doing the Jeopardy thing. Mm-hmm. Like, ding, ding. He starts whistling in it. And Electro, like, walks over and just, like, turns him over and walks over there, crouches above him. And Harry goes and grabs one of the security guards' guns that Electro killed. And he walks up and he goes, "Clear." That's when he says that shit. Yeah. He's like, "Clear." And Electro just fucking puts 2 fingers on his chest and sends, like, you know, electricity or whatever through him and revives his ass. And then he starts asking him questions, and then he picks him up by gunpoint and he says, "Take me to the Venom," or whatever. And he's like, "All right, you can go have the," he's like, "the power plant's yours." Mm-hmm. And Electro just goes through an outlet or whatever in the ground, in the fucking floor. Just puts his whole body through there, you know. And then Harry goes and
goes to get the Venom.
Yeah, goes to get the Venom.
And is that whenever you kind of, is that the first time you see all the other stuff?
Yeah, because they're walking by him.
Yeah, you see the vulture's
He's like,
wings.
"What is all this?" And he's like, "The future."
Yeah, and you see the octopus claws are going
Yeah,
off.
well, I don't think you see I don't know if you necessarily see the vulture's wings at that point.
Okay.
But that's when you do see the octopus arms going off. And they go into the Venom room or whatever, and he grabs it, and he's like, "We never got to human trials." And Harry's like, "You've had a successful human trial, you just don't know it." He's talking about Spiderman. Mm-hmm. And he fucking says, "Do it." And the guy injects him, and Harry's like, whatever. No, like, his hand starts twitching, but then, like, he starts getting fucked up, falls to the ground. His hands are kind of getting, his fingernails are getting clawy. He starts, like, scratching his shirt off and rips it off. That guy takes off, hits the security alarm, and then Harry just starts, like, fucking mutating. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really cool how they did both. The Ultimate Green Goblin and the 616 Goblin.
Yeah.
And because he's kind of mutated, but he still has the glider.
Well, and, like, it's really cool, like, he gets in that suit, and
it
says healing process activated, and he goes to 100%, and
it's
so
healing his ass.
So, like, and that's what explains later on, whenever he's like, "Oh, it comes and goes."
Yeah, we'll talk about, hey, come on, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Anyways, he gets in the suit, and, the healing process begins, and it all comes down, and then it goes to Gwen. I think it just goes to Harry, Peter, and he's walking through this, like, tunnel thing, and he gets a voicemail from Gwen, and he listens to it, and it's her saying, "Hey, I took an early class in England, summer class or whatever." And she's like, "I thought it'd be easier this way, leaving." And she's like, "It's not because I don't love you." And she's like, I do love you. It's because I love you. Mm-hmm. And so she's leaving. She's like, "I'm on my way to the airport now." And Peter's like, "I'm fucking Spider-Man. I can get there."
Yeah.
And so she shows her in the cab, and the cab driver's like, "Oh, yeah, that's Spider-Man." And she looks out the window, and on the bridge, he webbed, "I love you." You remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, like, because they're stuck in traffic, and she's just looking, and she's like, "Stop the car." She gets out, and he's like, "I'm not even moving." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere." She gets out, and she's looking at it, and then he swings in and grabs her. And then they start having a conversation on top of the bridge, or on top of somewhere. Mm-hmm. And he starts saying how he loves her and shit, and they start talking. He's like, "I choose you over everything." He's like, "I'll move to England with you." And he's like, "They have crime in England, right? Jack the Ripper."
Jack the Ripper's still.
He's like, they never caught Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And then they start kissing or whatever, and then his spider sense goes off, and like the power plant starts getting like kind of fucked up because Electro's appearing there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what the hell? And she's like, is that Max? And he's like, yeah. And earlier on, he had tried to...
Like, magnetize?
He didn't try to magnetize. He tried to do something to make sure his shit wouldn't get, like, exploded from electric shock. And he was saying to her, he's like, I can't get near him without him frying my web shooters. And she's like, have you tried to... something them? And he was like, yeah, I tried that. I tried blah, blah, blah. And she's like, did you try to magnetize them?
Yeah.
He's like, tried to magnet... I didn't try to magnetize them. And so they go, and there's all these cops, like, having these people go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's like, I'm Gwen Stacy, my father was Captain Stacy, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I know who he is. And she's like, do you have jumper cables? He's like, jumper cables. And so they, like, you know, jump off his shit, magnetize him or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't get electrocuted. And he's like, all right. And he's like, she's like, wait, I'm going with you. And he's like, no, you're not going with me. She's like, no, I'm going with you. And
Yeah.
he's like, no. And she's like, no, I am. And he's like, okay. And so they start walking off. He's like, close that. And she puts her hand up to the hood to close the hood, and he webs her hand.
I love that part.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm sorry, don't hate me, I love you. And she's like, Peter! Yeah,
slaps her hand over her mouth.
Slaps her hand over her mouth. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
And he goes off and shows up, and Electro's like, you're too late. I know this fucking power plant, it's mine. I'm taking it back. He's like, people are going to refer to me as a god. He's like, a god named Sparkles?
Yeah.
And then he falls down onto this water thing and busts the water thing open to try and fight him. And Electro's like, not this time. Then they start having this epic battle.
Yeah.
And at one point, Electro's going through a bunch of like the tower-like things.
Like the coils.
Yeah, the coils or whatever. And he's doing Itsy Bitsy Spider with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fucking hitting one, running and hitting Spider-Man, hitting one. And Spider-Man's like, I hate this song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this song. And they start fighting, and then, like, Electro has him up in the air against something, and he's, like, fucking him up or about to fuck him up. And he's like, I bet you didn't see this coming. And then Gwen Stacy busts through in a cop car.
Yeah.
And fucking hits him. And, like, hits Electro.
Yeah.
And Peter falls, and, like, Electro, like, fucking flies and shit. And she gets out of the car, and she's like, I can't believe you helped me there. And he's like, what are you doing here?
She's like, I'm the only one who can help you.
Yeah, and he's like, you can't be here. And she's like, it's not your choice, it's my choice. No one's going to make my choices for me.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm the only one that knows how to reset this power grid. And they start saying, he's like, well, what's the only way to beat electricity or whatever? And she's like, overpower it, overcharge it or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so we got to hit him with his own shit or whatever. He's like, go in there and reset the power grid or whatever when I tell you to, no matter what. She's like, Peter? And he's like, no matter what. Peter! And so she goes in there and he starts fighting with him again. And this shit's sick. I really enjoyed all the action.
Oh, yeah.
And then he eventually has all these, like, he webs all, like, these two things that Electro had busted in the power grid. He webs 4 of them and, like, is connecting them with him, and he's trying to connect them. And all this electricity's going off, and, like, Electro's hitting him, and he has it on these wires.
Yeah.
And he's like, reset it. Now he yells at Gwen, nah, Gwen! And she resets it, and, like, fucking, it knocks his ass off. But Electro's hitting that shit, and it's hitting back at him or whatever. And he explodes.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how it worked. I don't remember exactly. I just remember.
Overcharged him.
Yeah, whatever. It was crazy. And so they got rid of Electro. Everybody, I bet, in the theater was like, okay, they were just setting Harry up for the next one. Now it's over. Because it really seemed like it was about to be over. He gets up, she comes down, they start, like, talking. But then you see fucking a big view over the power plant with that clock tower.
Yeah.
And Green Goblin comes in. And you hear his giggle and shit. And he's like, Peter's saying something to Gwen, and he's like, you know, it gets closer, and you hear him. And he's like, what the hell? And Harry comes in, and he's like, Spider-Man, or whatever.
And then he looks at Gwen.
Yeah, and then he looks at Gwen.
Puts 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. And he looks back at Spider-Man, and he's like, Peter? He's like, so when you meant Spider-Man said no, you said no.
Yeah.
And he's all like saying something. He's like, you took away the only hope I had. And
Now I'm going to take away yours.
Yeah, I'm going to take away yours. And he's like, no, Gwen, no. And, like, she starts running. He turns around, grabs her, and takes off. And at this point in the movie, I'm freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been demanding this. You know, coming up to this movie, I mean, I'm sure there's other podcasts, earlier podcasts, where I'm demanding it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of upset, you know what I mean? I knew it was coming, but damn, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It really sucks. And he takes off with her, and Spider-Man's chasing him up, and, like, he goes, Green Goblin's above the fucking clock tower, and Spider-Man's on top. And I really like this because he's trying to web the glider, but he keeps missing. And Peter's like, you want to fight Harry? Put her down. She has nothing to do with this. Fight me. And he's like, drop her. And then he's like, okay. Just drops her. And that's when Spider-Man, Peter jumps up, catches Gwen in midair, and they start turning. And he smashes through the glass, and she lands on him in that thing. He's like, you okay? And she's like, and he's like, okay. And then fucking pumpkin bomb.
Yeah.
Lands right next to him.
Ugh.
Spider-Man rolls over, obviously takes the explosion.
Yeah.
Fucking smashes all this shit. She starts falling. He webs her, and he's like, I'm gonna set you down right here. And he sets her on top of these cranks or whatever. And fucking Green Goblin jumps down and starts, hitting Peter and all this shit. Mm-hmm. And in their chaos of them fighting, well, they go up and they start fighting in that around thing at the clock tower, And there's that thing, and then they smash down or whatever, and all this shit happens, and Gwen starts to fall. Peter jumps down, and webs her and has her, and that's when, like, he fucking gets jumped on by Green Goblin, and he's, like, laying down fighting Green Goblin, with the Green Goblin on top. And he, like, webs, like, a crank and then puts it around Green Goblin's neck.
Yeah.
And so, like, the thing cranks and, like, it pulls his neck back, and so he's trying to not die and pull his neck forward, and he wants to lean back and get off Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. The cranks are about to crack the web that Spider-Man has Gwen on. And fucking Peter's got his foot in the crank, trying to, like, desperately... No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you see that foot just looking like it's about to crush.
Yes, his foot's about to get crushed, and he's like, doesn't give a shit. He has it in there. He's trying to fight off Green Goblin, trying to fucking hold his love. And then all the gears smash together or some shit.
And you get an Easter egg. The clock goes to 121.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. The clock goes to 121 after it all, like, the cranks stop moving and resets or whatever. It goes to 121, which is the comic. The death of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
The number. But, Green Goblin gets knocked back into this wall, knocked unconscious or whatever, and Gwen starts falling. And right here it goes into slow motion. She's fallen, and there's all this debris, cranks, pieces of the wall, all kinds of shit falling. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man fucking jumps down and, webs. And like I said, it's all slow motion. Visually awesome.
Yes.
And his web's going through like a crank. Two cranks hit each other and bounce back, and his web goes through them and, hits her shirt. And there are a lot of people probably like, okay, he saved her. And then, it starts going, and then I think it goes back into real time, not slow motion. And he grabs this thing to hold himself to catch her, and it shows the wire suspend or whatever, get tight, and that's when it shows her body. In her head smacks the ground.
Yeah.
And then she comes up. And it's really like, whoa, moment.
Just kind of gets silent.
Yeah, I feel bad for the people that walked in there and were blindsided.
Well, there was, in our theater, there was a person who goes, you can't do that.
Yeah. Some people were upset about it.
You just heard even us in the theater, we just all went,
yeah. Even though we knew it was about to happen.
Yeah.
And, he comes down and starts holding Gwen. And he's like, no, stay with me. He takes his mask off. Stay with me. And then trying to say, like, desperately, like, no, she's not dead. And she's dead. And here's where the things where I know that I had read that some of the actors said got cut because some of them were, like, too violent. And they wouldn't have gotten a PG-13 rating. And this is what a lot of people want on the director's cut. One thing is when they filmed it like he's holding Gwen, and while he's holding Gwen and she's dead and he's crying, Green Goblin is conscious and is laughing hysterically up there, just looking at Peter and laughing at him. And Peter goes into a rage and nearly beats him to death.
Should have done it.
Yeah. Like, whoops his ass. That's what I want to see it. And then there's two other ways Gwen died that they made. One was he stabs her with something and throws her or whatever, and Peter catches her, like, fucking stabs her. And the other one is he breaks her neck with his bare hands.
Yeah, and just like throws her.
Yeah, he's flying with her, snaps her neck, and throws her.
God.
Which I wouldn't really. I'm glad that they didn't go with that because that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for Gwen Stacy. And it's kind of up in the air if I even want to watch it. I'm leaning to. I kind of want to watch it, but man, that's brutal.
Yo, fuck yeah, that's fucking.
That's brutal. But in the movie, after that happens, it goes to her funeral. You know, her family's crying, and Peter's obviously wrecked, and he's there with Aunt May. And then after that, it just shows, like, it goes to a shot of him in front of it with the dirt all still on top of her grave.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to one of him, Indian style, in front of, there's no dirt, there's just grass above it. It's been a while. And then it kind of goes through the seasons, and he's just standing at her grave staring at it. And it's like winter, fall, all this shit's happening. And then it cuts to the gentleman, Dr. Fears. You actually hear his name. He goes into Ravencroft. And it's like, Dr. Fears is here to see you or whatever. And he goes in, starts talking to Harry, and Harry's like, obviously a patient or prisoner at Ravencroft. And he's in the mirror, and Dr. Fears is like, or Harry's like, so how we come along? And he's like, we started well. And he's like, how many people do you want? And he's like, I want to keep it small. Harry says that. He's like, I want to keep it small. And the guy's like, and Harry's like, tell me more. And the guy's like, well, we got our first volunteer. And he's like, tell me about him. And he starts saying, it's Alexei Selvish or whatever his name is. Russian mobster.
Just got out.
Well, they broke him out.
Oh, yeah,
I think they broke him out.
Yeah.
And gave him the suit. And at that point, it's showing the Mr. Fears, or because he's like, oh, I don't know. They broke him out, but they didn't give it to him already. He's talking to Harry, and he's like, what do we do next? And Harry's like, everything he needs at Oscorp. And then it shows Mr. Fears, or whatever, the gentleman, walking by. And that's when you get a really good shot of the octopus arms, the vulture wings, and then he walks into, which you didn't see in the trailer, right in front of the rhino armor. Yeah, and then it cuts to Peter at his house with Aunt May. And he's eating, and they're talking on the TV about how that Alexei Silvish guy had broken out, and now he's robbing a bank or some shit. Yeah. And everybody wants Spider-Man to come back. They're like, this mysterious disappearance of Spider-Man. And Peter, turns it off, starts walking away, and Aunt May's like, it sure is a shame about that spider guy. Peter's like, whatever, and he's walking off. She's like, Peter, where are you going? And he's like, eat my cereal. She's like, where are you going? He's like, I don't know. And that's when she starts telling him about, she's taking one last good look at all of Uncle Ben's stuff, and then she's putting it where it needs to be. Yeah. And he goes into his room and watches Gwen's speech. Oh. Which is another very emotional part.
Broke me down.
Yeah, and she's talking about how she could die tomorrow, in her speech and shit. Yeah. She's like, hope, and hold on to that hope, because you never know, all this shit is really emotional. And that's when he watches that, and he's like, I need to continue to be Spider-Man. Yeah. Opens up his closet, and there's the spider suit, and he puts it on, and at that point, Rhino's been held up by the cops in the street, and they're shooting at him, and he's shooting at them. And there's this kid that earlier on in the movie, Spider-Man saved. Yeah. All these bullies were, I
love that part.
Yeah, smashing him against a fence, and they threw his project down and smashed it, and Spider-Man jumped in front of all of them, and they all ran away, and Spider-Man picked up the thing, and he's like, this is a wind turbine. Yeah. He's like, you made this? The kid's like, yeah. And he's like, this is awesome. And he, like, fixes it. He's like, oh, good as new.
I'll walk you home.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll walk home with you. He's like, what's your name? He's like, Jorge. He's like, Jorge? He's like, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. And at this point where Rhino, you know, is in the street battling these cops, that kid's in a Spider-Man suit with the mask off at the railing watching this all go down.
Yeah.
And he fucking jumps over the railing or crawls under it, puts his mask on, and runs into the street.
Yeah.
Brave-ass little kid, or just stupid as hell.
Just full of hope.
Yeah, dumb hope. But he's lucky that Rhino's not a fucking, like, psycho asshole.
Yeah. Goblin would have killed that kid.
Carnage or Venom would have ate him.
Yeah.
Like, but that kid runs in the middle of the street, and the cops are like, hold your fire. And Rhino stops firing. He's like, oh, Spider-Man, or something like that. And he's like, I don't think the kid says anything.
Yeah,
he's just standing there staring at him. And as that point's happening, that's when you see, or you don't see him yet, but you see people look up, like Spider-Man's flying.
You see Shadow.
You see Shadow?
Yeah.
And then you see the cop look up from behind his car.
Over him.
Yeah. And he's smiling, and he's like, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And Spider-Man, like, jumps down, and, like, you don't see him yet, and then you hear, hey, Spider-Man. And that kid turns around, and Spider-Man's talking to him.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a brave little kid, or whatever. And he's like, thanks for holding him off for me.
Get back to your mom.
Yeah, go back to your mom. Go take care of your mom, and I'll take care of this guy.
Yeah.
And did I already say on this, or was it before, that kid is apparently supposed to be like represent Miles Morales?
Yeah, I don't know if we said it off mic or not. But,
but
yeah, he's supposed to be Miles Morales. Like, he's representing Miles.
Yeah, because he stands in for Spider-Man after Peter Parker dies to the Sinister Six in the Ultimate series. Yeah. And then Peter, like, walks back, jumps onto the cop car, and grabs a mic or whatever, and he's like, to New York citizens and all real rhinos everywhere, I'm going to have to ask you to stop or whatever. Rhino starts saying something. I really couldn't understand everything he was saying.
God, no.
And then Spider-Man was like, you want me to come down there so you can kill me? And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, here I come. And he's like, throws the mic back or whatever, and he's like,
yeah, they start charging each other. Or no, Rhino starts charging. He gets on all fours.
Yeah, he gets on all fours. The thing comes down. He gets on all fours and starts charging him. And Spider-Man webs one of the, like, sewage top things, like the things you see the Ninja Turtles come out of.
Yeah.
He grabs one of those and jumps off and starts twirling it. And he twirls it, like, good 2 or 3 times fully.
Yeah.
And is about to hit Rhino, you know. And he's hitting missiles because Rhino's shooting missiles at him. And when he's twirling around, he's hitting a missile each time. Smashing that missile. And then, he comes back and is about to smash it on Rhino's head. And it goes to the spider symbol coming up. That ass song.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 credits.
And then all the Sinister Six equipment.
Yeah. Which there's obviously Green Goblin. There's obviously Doc Ock. There's obviously Vulture. And then there was maybe Kraven.
Most likely Kraven.
Most likely Kraven. Most likely Mysterio.
Yeah.
Or
Chameleon.
But most likely Mysterio.
Yeah.
Because some people saying the Kraven shit could be Black Cat, but it's most likely Kraven.
I mean, that symbol.
Yeah, but who's the 6th one?
Okay, Goblin.
Doc Ock, Vulture, Kraven, Mysterio.
Maybe Electro. I mean, he might not be dead.
I don't know. I thought they said someone, though. They had someone. Son of a biscuit eating son of a bitch. Hold on. I can check that shit, homie. I don't remember.
So, out of 5, what would you give this?
The movie?
Yeah.
I might be kind of biased because it's Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to give it 4.
4? I'm going to give it like a 3.5. Because I don't want to give it like a 4 because certain things. Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi is my favorite. Like, I give that a 5. Because I think that movie's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And, this is either my second or my third favorite Spider-Man movie. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Trying to fucking shit out, man. This is Spider-Man fighting. Damn, is it even gonna say?
Who is it?
I don't know. Throw $1 in it. Throw like $5 in it.
It's Electro. Fuck it.
I don't think it's Electro, dude. If it's Electro, then throw like $10 in it.
I mean, maybe Carnage. I don't know.
I don't think it's Carnage. I'm sorry that I keep shooting you down, but
I don't know who it could be.
I don't either. But I don't think it's them. I want to find it.
Come on.
Shh.
Come on, then.
Shh.
Come on.
Well, I hate this shit because you look up a like certain superhero and superhero hype,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have all of them in a row.
Come on, D. You got this. Come on.
Shut up.
I'm just trying to keep it alive.
I know.
Come on.
I know exactly what you're doing.
Come on, bro. Come on,
I'm
bro.
trying to see.
Come on, bro. Come on,
oh,
bro.
well, Rhino.
Rhino. God damn it.
God damn it.
We're idiots.
We're stupid.
Throw so many dollars in it.
Yes. Oh my God. We were just talking. God, no.
All right. You want to get to our plugs?
Yeah, that was this.
End this off. This was a damn near 2-hour episode.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Good job.
Super spoiler.
Super spoiler episode. You actually have a read this week.
Yeah. Well, I've already said Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
But did you say like this one was
Yeah,
your
issue number 9 is like my favorite so far.
And for people who don't know what the Superior Foes is, what is it?
And what's funny is I think it's issue 10. It has a very cool opening and it explains it because they keep explaining, but it's the Sinister Six,
Mhm.
but they're all they're all like B and C
Yeah.
villains of Spider-Man, you know, and there's only 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's Speed Demon, Overdrive, the new Beetle or whatever, the Beetle, the chick, and the new Beetle, and Boomerang and Shocker. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hilarious. The issues I've read are hilarious.
They're hilarious, and they're like really cool. Like,
I mean, there's action, but
yeah, there's action. They do some badass shit.
It's a real character study.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the dialogue's awesome.
you got anything else you want to plug?
The NFL draft is tonight, and this will be up not way after it happens, but it'll be done by the time this is up.
We'll talk about that next episode, probably.
Yeah, and if Johnny Manziel goes to the Cowboys, I think we should all just burn Cowboy jerseys.
Yeah, our next episode will be an NFL draft day spoil episode.
God, I turned the volume off. Back on. Draft day spoiler episode. If you did not hear any of the news ever, because it'll be everywhere.
I guess for my read, I just started reading. I was reading a book, but then I finally got a book that my grandpa had left me before he passed away, and it's called Kingdom Come, and it's his favorite comic story of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an Elseworld story where it has all the people from like the Golden Age and stuff. So like Jay Garrick, Flash, and the original Green Lantern and stuff. But he's all like armored and shit. Like,
Really?
I mean, they're all old. Like, the whole story is Superman left and all the heroes lost hope. Because, what the fuck? Like, you're the reason why we all started doing this.
Mm-hmm. And
Batman just has, there's a part where they're like, so what's Batman doing? And he goes to Gotham and they're like, he has his city under control. And it's just a bunch of armored, Batman robots just policing the town. So he is just kind of like, he's the ruler of Gotham now, pretty much.
Wow.
I mean, he decides all the rules, and I haven't really gotten to see if it's super corrupt or not, but a lot of people are like, man, it's kind of too far.
Oh, really?
Even for criminals.
Wow.
Yeah. But, it's Batman's way of justice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That sounds intense.
yeah, I'm gonna let you, I want to let you read it whenever I'm done. I mean,
Sweet.
the art's awesome because the artist got a bunch of actors to come in and pose in costumes, and he drew them and stuff. So it's
That's
like a
sick.
movie.
That's sick.
Yeah. So I guess that's gonna wrap it up for. Go to GoFundMe.com/Geekers Network and fund us, please. And check out Big Oily Men, a podcast that's been put up on our network now, and it's our friends Gus and Rainer.
Yes, and it's wrestling. It's awesome.
It's all about wrestling. Me and Tanner have both been guests on there. Our friend Reno's been a guest. And then I'm actually guest hosting for Rainer on this next one because he's in Rome.
Oh.
Like a little bastard.
Lucky.
Yeah, the sunburn brings out the Asian in him so much. He just looks more Asian than ever. And he keeps on posting like all these selfies. It's so lame.
Oh, God.
Gus is awesome. Rainer's a fucking idiot.
Oh, God.
He like posted this selfie and he's like, I'm having a lot of fun, but I can't forget my number one girl, and tagged Amy in it. And I was like, you fucking idiot. It's just him like pointing.
You're getting harsh on Rainer right now.
I love Rainer. He's a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You go look up Rainer Nava on Facebook and find the Odessa profile. You'll see what I mean. That's my plug.
Okay.
That's my plug.
All right.
All right, so this has been Geekers. I'm Dustin Cernot.
And I'm Tanner Pattonfield.
And we're more geekers than you.
Yeah. Because we ruined Spiderman.
And fuck off if you haven't seen Spiderman.
Yeah, watch that shit.
And fuck off anyway.
Yeah.